What's going on, everyone? Welcome into the FantasyPros YouTube channel. My name is Kyle Yates. We are in week 12 of the NFL season, or as I like to call it, the loony bin. This is going to be a crazy week of the NFL. We have a practice squad wide receiver starting at quarterback for the Denver Broncos. We have a game that has been postponed twice now with the Pittsburgh Steelers and Baltimore Ravens that might not even play. But we're going to talk it all through. We're going to tilt together. We're going to go through it all and figure this out over the next hour because we got these games kicking off here in just under an hour. So what I'm going to do before we get into the inactives, actives, I'm going to ask that if you're watching this and you have not subscribed to the FantasyPros YouTube channel, please take just 2 seconds out of your day. Hit the subscribe button, helps us out in a big way. Hit the like button on this video as well. Again, helps us out in a big way. And you can find and follow me on Twitter at KyleYNFL. Guys, let's get into the starts and or the actives and inactives here. Not expected to play. It doesn't matter. Mitchell Trubisky has already been named the starter here. Nick Foles is out for this game. So with Trubisky here, this isn't something that, unless you are absolutely desperate at quarterback, please don't go anywhere near Mitchell Trubisky from a fantasy football standpoint. This is going to be an interesting game to watch, though, here on Sunday Night Football to see, okay, does Matt Nagy, is this the breaking point where he finally organizes his scheme around Trubisky's strengths? That's going to be something that I'm watching moving forward. If that does happen, Trubisky, I mean, with his rushing ability, he can be a fine streaming quarterback down the stretch here. So I'm just watching that, just to see what happens here. But for this week, please don't play Mitchell Trubisky unless you are absolutely desperate. Ruled out. We've got a long list here, so I'm going to try to fly through it. Rex Burkhead, ruled out. He's out for the year. Drop him from your fantasy football lineups. Christian McCaffrey, ruled out for this week. Seems like he's getting closer to returning, but the Panthers just didn't want to push it. We will see Mike Davis here this week. Mike Davis lands inside my top 12 running backs on the week. Irv Smith Jr., he's out. You weren't really looking his way. Adam Thielen, out for this game. Justin Jefferson has the potential to finish as a top 5 wide receiver this week for fantasy football. I absolutely believe that. So if you are debating Justin Jefferson and someone else, I think the answer needs to be Justin Jefferson here. Jonathan Taylor ruled out for this game, which is unfortunate because we were just starting to get excited about him. So you're going to see Nyheim Hines here. You're going to see Jordan Wilkins factor in. Nyheim Hines lands at RB20 in my rankings. Jordan Wilkins is more of a mid-range RB3 flex play for me. Not necessarily looking to play him, but again, with the state of a lot of our fantasy football lineups, you may be forced into playing Jordan Wilkins. DJ Chark, this was a bit of a surprise to me. I didn't think that he was going to miss this game, but he is ruled out for this one. With Mike Glennon at quarterback, you're now looking at Keelan Cole, Laviska Shenault, and Colin Johnson as your top 3 wideouts. Just avoid this offense if you can. I'm a Bears fan. I've seen what Mike Glennon can do. It's not pretty. Kalen Ballage ruled out here, but the good news, and we'll get to it in a little bit, is Austin Eckler is expected to be back for this game. So fire up Austin Eckler if you've got him. Kalen Ballage out for this one. John Brown landed on IR. He's out for this week. Todd Gurley, not practicing all week due to his knee issue flaring up. Obviously, if you've watched football any of the past 4 weeks or 4 games of his, the highest yards per carry, I mean, even 5 now at this point, highest yards per carry was 3 that he's averaged over the last 5 games. So, man, Todd Gurley, he doesn't have it anymore. And so now we're going to see Brian Hill in a fantastic matchup here against the Las Vegas Raiders run defense. I'm putting Brian Hill at RB22 in my half PPR rankings, so he's someone that you can start, but I don't think that you need to classify him as a must-start option in this matchup. For example, if you are debating Austin Eckler versus Brian Hill, I'd be playing Austin Eckler. Julio Jones out for this one. This is concerning for the entire Falcons offense because you're looking at when Matt Ryan doesn't have Julio Jones in the lineup, he doesn't look like anything like the same quarterback. So I'm concerned here. Calvin Ridley, of course, is a must-start option. But outside of that, I mean, I'm pretty concerned about this matchup about these weapons here in Atlanta. I'm downgrading Matt Ryan pretty significantly. I'm not looking to play him if I can avoid it. Tua Tagovailoa, he's out for this game. We're going to see Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's in the streaming conversation. Savon Ahmed out for this game. Looks like Myles Gaskin is out as well. There were discussions that he might come back for this game. Looks like he has been officially ruled out. So you're going to see Matt Breida and DeAndre Washington here. This is just a backfield. Avoid if you can. Adam Humphries still out. Larry Fitzgerald out for this one. Lamar Jackson out for this game. If it does happen on Tuesday, I'll talk about that game in a second. Tevin Coleman out for this one, but we are going to get Raheem Mostert back. Drew Lock, Jeff Driscoll, Brett Rippon. Of course, I mentioned Kendall Hinton is going to be your starting quarterback here. Downgrade every single Denver Broncos receiving option. I'm not looking to play him. And then Mark Andrews. This is concerning. Mark Andrews, of course, type 1 diabetic, dealing with testing positive for COVID-19. So this is concerning. Ultimately, it sucks for fantasy football, but we hope that we put his health and well-being first and foremost in our concerns. So hoping that he is okay. Game time decisions here. Jerry Judy, it does look like he's going to play. Jordan Reed, if he does play, I think he's in the streaming conversation. Tyler Higbee, if Gerald Everett is healthy, then you're just looking to avoid him. If Tyler Higbee does sit in this one, then Gerald Everett can be put in that streaming conversation, but not really looking to play him if I can. And then Marquez Valdes-Scantling is a game time decision as well. He's not really on the redraft radar. I wouldn't be playing him even if he was fully healthy. Expected to play. N'Keal Harry, doesn't matter. Hayden Hurst is expected to play. I'm downgrading Hayden Hurst with Julio Jones out of the lineup. Again, this offense looks nothing like what it does when Julio is healthy. So Hayden Hurst here is a sit for me if I can. I've got him at tight end 13 in my rankings, downgrading him pretty significantly here. I'm going to try to avoid Hayden Hurst this week if I can. Jakeem Grant, he has flex appeal this week in a plus matchup here with Ryan Fitzpatrick at quarterback. Giovanni Bernard is going to be healthy for this one. I'm really not excited about Giovanni Bernard. With no bye weeks this week, I think that you can look at Giovanni Bernard outside of the top 24 running backs. He's done very little in his opportunity here with Joe Mixon now out for the lineup and then on IR to make you feel confident plugging him in. So I've got him at RB27 or RB28. Not looking forward to playing Giovanni Bernard if I can avoid it. And then we got Zach Pascal. He's not on the redraft radar. Phillip Rivers, he's in the streaming conversation. I think you can do better at the quarterback position. All right, let's get into some of your questions here. We've got a lot of them because this week is absolutely insane. Full PPR, choose two for the flex, Eckler, Mostert, or Brian Hill. The answer for me here is going to be Eckler and Brian Hill. Brian Hill, again, at 22 in my rankings, Eckler at 15 or 16. And then Mostert is a little bit further outside of that. Tevin Coleman being out of the lineup does help, but yet we just don't know what Mostert's going to be like coming back off his injury. It's a tougher matchup here against the Rams, so I'm looking to avoid, not necessarily avoid Mostert, but in that situation where you're looking at Eckler and Brian Hill, I would play them. I'd play the matchups there with Brian Hill. Greg asks, he needs one of the two, Gage or Shenault, if Julio doesn't play. Well, we have the clarity here that Julio Jones is not going to play, so I don't want to go anywhere near Laviska Shenault. With Mike Glennon at quarterback, I'll take the shot here with Russell Gage, but both of these guys are low-end flex plays for me. Not really excited about either one. Damian Harris or Robert Woods at the flex in a full PPR. I'm gonna continue to ride the hot hand here with Robert Woods. I think that we could see the Rams get back to a run-heavy offense here this week, which could limit Robert Woods' ceiling, but yet due to the range of outcomes here with what we saw last week, throwing 51 times, and Robert Woods and both Cooper Kupp just went off, I think you play Robert Woods here over Damian Harris. Fitzmagic or Phillip Rivers. I'll play Fitzmagic there. I have Ryan Fitzpatrick just outside my top 12. I have Phillip Rivers at 16 or 17 in my quarterback rankings, so I am going to sit Phillip Rivers in that situation. I'll take the shot with Ryan Fitzpatrick in a very, very good matchup. Also, really like Devontae Parker this week. Giovanni Bernard, full PPR. Darius Slayton or Nelson Aguilar. Ooh, both of these guys are in the same range for me as low-end wide receiver threes that obviously come with huge potential. I'll play the matchup with Nelson Aguilar in that situation, though. I think that we could see New York just lean on the run game. Brandon Allen at quarterback is a boost for this lineup compared to Ryan Finley. But yeah, I don't think they're going to stay competitive in this game. I think that New York could absolutely just lean on the run game, and that lowers Slayton's ceiling. Aguilar, fantastic matchup. I'll take the shot there. Giovanni Bernard or Chase Edmonds in the flex. I'm not looking to play Chase Edmonds. If I can avoid it, I'll play Giovanni Bernard. But again, as a mid-range RB3, high-end RB3. Pick one, Gus Edwards, Giovanni Bernard, or Brian Hill. Okay, so I mentioned I was going to talk about it, and I didn't. So let's talk about the Baltimore and Pittsburgh fantasy options here. Okay, so with Baltimore and Pittsburgh, if your commissioner, we talked about this earlier on in the season, but for those who are just tuning in, joining, and you don't know what I'm going to refer to, I'll just explain it really quickly. So with fantasy football lineups, what you can do is you can talk to your commissioner. It's a little bit late here, right at 12:12, just a little 48 minutes here before kickoff, but what you can do is you can talk to your commissioner and substitute or present substitute players, right? So in these games where there's question marks due to COVID, then you can present these players that are on your bench that you can play in place of Diontae Johnson, Chase Claypool, Gus Edwards, right? These players that are supposed to play if this game takes place on Tuesday, but yet if they don't, you don't want to leave them in your lineup and get a 0, right? So what you can do is you can say, let's just say you're playing Diontae Johnson, he's in your starting lineup, but you have Jameson Crowder on your bench, okay? So what you can do if the entire league has agreed to it is you can say, I will play Jameson Crowder's points in place of Diontae Johnson if this game gets canceled due to COVID-19. Okay, so if your league does not do that, if you have not decided upon that before this point, again, it's going to be, if you have not and you're wanting to institute it, it's going to be very difficult to do that in the next 45 minutes. If your league does not do that, I am going to go with the other options outside of the Baltimore and Pittsburgh fantasy assets. Okay, so Chase Claypool, Diontae Johnson, Gus Edwards, Benny Snell with James Conner out, like all these options, I'm not playing them. I don't think this game happens. I really do not think that this game happens, and I think that that's the situation where you really do not want to wait all the way up until either tomorrow, later today, even Tuesday, before we get word, hey, this game has been canceled, and they're going to make it up in week 18 or whatever it's going to be. That's just a situation where I don't want to roll the dice because I don't think the payoff is there. Okay, so in this situation, getting back to Nick's question here, with Gus Edwards, Giovanni Bernard, or Brian Hill, I'm going to play Brian Hill. Gus Edwards would probably be in consideration for me here over these other two options. But due to the uncertainty that comes with the Baltimore and Pittsburgh game, I'm sitting Gus Edwards. I've got Eric Ebron in a couple of leagues, guys. I'm sitting Eric Ebron. I've got Diontae Johnson in a couple of leagues. I'm sitting Diontae Johnson. I know that they could absolutely help win you your week, but yet the risk reward here is not worth it. So I'm sitting them if I can. In your situation, Nick, I will go with Brian Hill over Giovanni Bernard because Gus Edwards is not in consideration for me. Cam Newton or Carson Wentz in a standard league. Carson Wentz might not play this entire game. We're going to see Jalen Hurts factor in according to the coaching staff and reports coming out. So I'm sitting Carson Wentz if I can. I'm not going anywhere near him. I've got him at 20 in my quarterback rankings this week. It's very, very concerning to have that report come out. And with the way he's played, even in a fantastic matchup for opposing quarterbacks, I'm not willing to take that shot. I'll play Cam Newton. Wayne Gallman or Austin Eckler in a full PPR. In a full PPR, I'll go Austin Eckler. I do like Wayne Gallman this week. I just mentioned earlier that I think the New York Giants can absolutely just lean on their run game. But I think with Austin Eckler in a full PPR especially, you got to go Eckler there. Singletary or Lazard in a full PPR. Devin Singletary should have been dropped from your fantasy lineup a couple of weeks ago. He's not worth playing at all. He belongs on your waiver wire, so I will play Allen Lazard there. Half PPR, Gallman or Hines? That's a good question. I think I have Gallman slightly ahead of Nyheim Hines. Double checking here. Yeah, I do. I have Wayne Gallman at 15. I have Austin Eckler at 17, and these are in half PPR rankings. They do flip a little bit in full. And then I've got Nyheim Hines at 20. So I will play in a half PPR Wayne Gallman over Nyheim Hines this week. Clyde Edwards-Helaire or Chris Godwin in the flex. I will play Chris Godwin there. I think that Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going to have a tough time here in this matchup. I still like him as a start, but in comparison to Chris Godwin there, especially in a full PPR, I think you got to go Godwin. Hey, Kyle, thinking of sitting Diontae Johnson. Pick one of Antonio Brown, Michael Pittman, or Deebo Samuel. Deebo Samuel's a little bit further down in my rankings. Not willing to fully buy in. Week 1 back. Nick Mullins, I'm not willing to buy into him just yet. So it's between Antonio Brown and Michael Pittman. I will play Michael Pittman in this matchup. Which running back should I start, Mike Davis or Nyheim Hines? I will play Mike Davis over Nyheim Hines. I think Davis in this matchup, I think he does bring a pretty significant ceiling, boom potential there. Nyheim Hines obviously comes with a huge boom potential because we saw him do it against this team just 2 weeks ago. So with Jonathan Taylor out of the picture, I think he can absolutely go off, but yet Mike Davis in this matchup, the guaranteed volume that he's going to see, Teddy Bridgewater back at quarterback, he should see significant targets out of the backfield. I'll play Mike Davis there. Taysom Hill, Big Ben, Fitzpatrick, pick one of them. I'm going to play Taysom Hill here. I don't think Taysom Hill's going to need to throw the ball more than 15 times in this matchup. I think that the Saints are just going to be able to lean on their run game. I wrote a last-minute cheat sheet this morning, and I said that Michael Thomas, he's a little bit further down in my rankings. Now he's still a start, but yet comparative to ECR, he's a little bit further down in my rankings because we could see the Saints throw the ball run the ball 45 times in this one. And just because they're going to be on the field a ton and they won't need, I mean, it's Kendall Hinton. I didn't know Kendall Hinton existed before yesterday. So I think this is just a situation you roll Taysom Hill in because of his rushing upside. Big Ben, obviously with the Pittsburgh-Baltimore situation, looking to sit him if I can. Fitzpatrick would be the one I would consider, but I'll go with Taysom Hill over Ryan Fitzpatrick. Who should I start? Mike Davis or Austin Eckler? I'll still go with Mike Davis here. I think Austin Eckler, even though he's supposed to see a ton of carries this week with Kalen Ballage out, that certainly helps. There's still a concern here, so I'll give the slight edge there to Mike Davis. But if you want, I think it's closer than I thought it would be. I'll still go Mike Davis there, but it's close. Is Anthony McFarland worth dropping for Savon Ahmed? Savon Ahmed obviously out this week, so I think Anthony McFarland, you must be playing in a super deep league to roster McFarland. And if Ahmed's still out there, then you have the concern of Myles Gaskin coming back next week and Ahmed's role diminishing. But I still think that he's worth holding on to. So yeah, I'd hold on to Ahmed over McFarland. Miles Sanders or Austin Eckler, I'm still going to go Miles Sanders here. You have Jordan Howard brought up to this active roster and is apparently going to factor in. This is a situation where not super excited to plug in Miles Sanders, but yet based on what you've seen in this matchup, I think you still play Miles Sanders over Austin Eckler. PPR need to Nyheim Hines, Chris Godwin, Deontay Johnson. I will play Nyheim Hines and Chris Godwin. Again, looking to sit the Steelers receivers if I can. Tyreek Hill, Stephon Diggs, or DeAndre Hopkins. Ooh, man. I will play Tyreek Hill. I think he's going to have just a monstrous week lining up against Sean Murphy-Bunting in the slot. Stephon Diggs, I will play him, of course. And then DeAndre Hopkins has Stephon Gilmore to deal with, so I still think Hopkins is a top 10 receiver. So congratulations that you have 3 top 10 receivers, and you have to make this tough decision. But I'll give the slight edge there to Tyreek Hill and Stephon Diggs. Chris Godwin, Curtis Samuel, or Jalen Reagor. Chris Godwin for me. Wentz is driving me crazy. You and me both. Do I play Tannehill instead or maybe pick up Fitzpatrick or Cousins? I would pick up Fitzpatrick if he's available. It depends on who you have to drop. But Fitzpatrick this week, I really, really like, especially over Tannehill. Tough matchup there. So there's a pretty big disparity in my rankings between Fitzpatrick and Tannehill. I've got Fitzpatrick at 13 and Tannehill at 19, I think. So 19 or 20. So I would play Fitzpatrick. Oh, I'm sorry, 21. And I've got Fitzpatrick at 13. Full PPR, Eckler or Hines. I will play Eckler in that situation. And DJ Moore or Claypool, I'll play DJ Moore. Keenan Allen or Jalen Reagor. Keenan Allen by a mile. Good pick 2, please. Nyheim Hines. Edwards. Assuming Gus Edwards. Austin Eckler. In a full PPR, I will play Hines and Eckler because I know that their game is happening. Tyler Lockett or Jalen Reagor. Tyler Lockett. Choose one, please. In a full PPR, Tyler Boyd, A.J. Brown, or Robbie Anderson. Tough matchup here for A.J. Brown, but I'll still play him. Robbie Anderson brings a safe floor, but he's not bringing much upside, even though it's a great matchup. I think that A.J. Brown, you just continue to plug him into your lineup, no questions asked. PPR, choose 2. Montgomery, Brian Hill, Gus Edwards, or Wayne Gallman. Wayne Gallman is for sure in my lineup there, which sounds crazy to say. And then I'll go David Montgomery. I think that the matchup here against the Packers is enough for David Montgomery to be plugged into your lineup. I don't think he's going to see as many targets out of the backfield as he was with Nick Foles, but yet he should have plenty of room to run in this one against the Packers run defense. So I'll plug in Montgomery and Gallman. Carr or Jared Goff, I'll play Derek Carr there. I've got Carr as the top 10 option this week against Atlanta. Risk Deontay Johnson or Melvin Gordon in a standard flex. That's tough because I really don't want to play Melvin Gordon if I can avoid it, especially with the unknowns at or the situation at quarterback. So if I don't have a better option, I think you got to go with Melvin Gordon because, again, I don't think that this game happens, but that's tough. I would be looking at any other options outside of Melvin Gordon, but I don't think that you can. I'll go Melvin Gordon there and just hope that the Broncos just feed him the ball as much as they possibly can. and hope that he's a volume play. Chris Godwin or DJ Moore? That's a good question. I do not know off the top of my head. They're in the same range, and when they're in the same range, I'm going to lean back on my rankings process. I have, DJ Moore at 19, Chris Godwin at 20. So I will play. I'm going to flip those. I'm going to put Chris Godwin at 19, DJ Moore at 20, with Teddy Bridgewater back at quarterback. I just don't know if he's going to feature DJ Moore. Now it's a fantastic matchup, so I still think that he belongs in the top 24, but yet I'll give the slight edge there to Chris Godwin. AJ Green or Jerry Judy today? Gross. I will play AJ Green, and I'm not excited about it. Those guys are low-end flex plays for me. Giovanni Bernard, A. Brown. I don't know if that's AJ Brown or Antonio Brown. Pick 2 in the flex, half PPR, Mostert, Eckler, Hill, or Boyd. I'm assuming that's Brian Hill. I will go with Eckler for sure, and then I'll go with Brian Hill. Mostert and Boyd. Boyd, I'm not looking to play this week if I can avoid it. He gets a bump up with Brandon Allen back at quarterback, but over Ryan Finley, but yet it's nothing. We can't be expecting anything close to what we had with Joe Burrow. So Tyler Boyd's outside my top 36 receivers on the week. Mostert just outside my top 24 running backs. How does Hurts getting first-team reps change your view of the Eagles this week? It sounds like he's going to see some work, but it's not. I don't think it's going to be enough for him to be a viable fantasy asset. I don't think it's going to be enough, and I think he's going to take away enough for Carson Wentz to, for him to hurt his fantasy value. So I think we don't know, because Jalen Hurts, from him coming out of Alabama, like, he is stylistically very similar to Lamar Jackson. He is someone that you need to mold your offense around his strengths, which is his mobility. He can get it done as a passer, but yet that's not his strength. For him to sit back, go through his progressions and stuff like that, he is a mobile quarterback. So I think we can't, unless they completely change the offense, which they're not going to do if Carson Wentz is still on the field, then that's something where I don't think there's much to analyze here from how it changes my view of the Eagles. Every single Eagles receiver I'm downgrading, even though it is a fantastic matchup. This is just a weird situation, and this offense does not look great. So Jalen Reagor, he's just outside of my top 40 receivers. Travis Fulgham's at 47 off the top of my head. Not looking to start him if I can. They're flex plays for me. Hinton, Aguilar, or Curtis Samuel in a standard league. So Hinton, interesting situation here. My fantasy league listed him as a quarterback, but it sounds like some of the other platforms still have him as a wide receiver. So he lands at wide receiver 39 in my rankings here. I'm really not looking to plug him in because I just don't know what the heck they're going to do. I don't know if they're going to even be able to put points up on the board. So with Hinton, I'm not looking forward to playing him if I can avoid it. So I will go with Aguilar in that situation. I have him. Where do I have Curtis Samuel off the top of my head, actually? Okay, so I have Curtis Samuel at 34. I have Nelson Aguilar at 36, and then I have Hinton at 39. So great question because they're all in the same range. I'll give the slight edge there to Curtis Samuel. Aguilar, I think, does come with a bit more boom potential, but Curtis Samuel comes with his own boom potential in this matchup too with Teddy Bridgewater. Bridgewater had been looking his way pretty regularly, so I'll roll the dice there with Samuel, but it's super close. Great question. Right. Let's find some new questions. All right. Jalen Reagor or Cole Beasley in half PPR. I'll give the edge there to Beasley with John Brown out. I expect points to go up on the board in this one, and Beasley absolutely should be heavily targeted. Fitzpatrick or Cam Newton. I'll give the slight edge there to Cam Newton. Mostert or Clyde Edwards-Helaire or Drake. I will go still with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. CEH is, let me pull this up in my rankings. I have CEH at, it's loading. I have CEH at 18. I have Kenyon Drake at 19. And I have Mostert at 24, So Mostert did move up just a little bit. But, yeah, I'll go with CEH there still. I think that he should see enough volume for him to still return that value. Kenyon Drake, not overly efficient, but he should see plenty of work himself. And then Raheem Mostert, just a tough matchup. Unknowns with coming off the injury. I want to play it safe with him. I'll go with CEH. Melvin Gordon, Debo, or Juju in the flex. Man, I think you got to go Debo Samuel there. Melvin Gordon. I talked about him with someone else's question. I just not super excited to plug in Melvin Gordon, especially with the the quarterback situation there. So Debo Samuel, not expecting big things from him, but I think he's the safest of the group, especially because I'm not looking to play these Pittsburgh Steelers or Baltimore Ravens options. Pick 2, Michael Thomas, A.J. Brown, or Calvin Ridley in a full PPR. I'll go. I said I was downgrading A.J. Brown. I don't remember how far I dropped him down and if it was enough to... Or A.J. Brown, I'm sorry. I said Michael Thomas. I was downgrading. A.J. Brown does get a bit of a drop-off too because of the matchup here. I have A.J. Brown at 16. I have Michael Thomas at 17. And then I have... Who is the other person you mentioned? Ridley. Ridley is the one who is I have him at 6. So I will go with Calvin Ridley and A.J. Brown. I think that the Titans are going to have to throw the ball, which could lead to some more safe target volume there for A.J. Brown. I don't think New Orleans is going to have to throw the ball a ton at all. So that's the concern there. Now, all the targets absolutely could go to Michael Thomas. So again, I've got Michael Thomas at 17. I still think that he is an absolutely safe start. But when you're comparing some of these top tier options, I'm going to play... I'll go with A.J. Brown there and Calvin Ridley, but that's super close. Edwards-Helaire or Montgomery in a full PPR. I will play the matchup there with David Montgomery. Yeah, I've got David Montgomery at 16. I've got CEH at 18 in my half PPR rankings, and that's around where they're going to be in full PPR rankings. All right, full PPR. A.J. Brown, Mike Evans, or Raheem Mostert. I also have Eckler, but I am already starting Herbert and Hunter Henry. I'm not opposed to playing all three of those guys. I'm not opposed to playing Herbert, Eckler, and Hunter Henry. If you really want to avoid that situation, then out of that other group, I would play A.J. Brown. But personally, if I were in that situation, I'd be fine rolling in Justin Herbert, Eckler, and Hunter Henry. Points should be going up on the board in this game. So this is going to be an extremely fun game to watch. I think that all three of those guys are safe options. Pick 2, DeAndre Hopkins, James Robinson, or Calvin Ridley. I will go with... Oh, man, I want to avoid James Robinson if I can. Because of the offense, I will go with DeAndre Hopkins and Calvin Ridley there. Half PPR, Giovanni Bernard or Darius Slayton in the flex. I'll swing for the fences there with Slayton. I don't think Giovanni Bernard is going to present you much of a ceiling at all. So... I'll play Slayton there and just hope he hits on one or two big plays downfield. Mike Williams or Alan Lazard. I will go with Mike Williams there. Pittman, Rager, or Beasley in a full PPR. I'll go with Beasley in a full PPR. It was between Beasley and Pittman for me. With Beasley, I just think he soaks up targets with John Brown out of the lineup. And with a full PPR, I think that that gives him the slight edge over Pittman and Rager. Full PPR, which three do I play? Hopkins, Diggs, DK Metcalf, or Devontae Adams. Goodness. All right. You got to play Devontae Adams. I think you got to play Stephon Diggs in this matchup. And I think you play DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf most likely dealing with Darius Slay. DeAndre Hopkins most likely dealing with Stephon Gilmore. Man, that is close. Again, like I said earlier to someone else, congratulations on having those players to choose from. I don't know how the heck you did that. I have in my half PPR rankings, I have Adams 1, DK Metcalf 4, Stephon Diggs 5, and then DeAndre Hopkins at 8. So, again, you've got 4 top 8 receivers in my rankings. So, I don't think you can go wrong either way. I'll give the slight edge there to DK Metcalf over DeAndre Hopkins. All right. PPR, Kenyon Drake, Christian Kirk, or Alan Lazard. I will play... This comes down to Kyler Murray's shoulder for me. If Kyler Murray's shoulder is perfectly fine, then I think Christian Kirk can get back to being targeted deep downfield. Kenyon Drake is the safer play here, and he saw significant targets last week, which helped boosted his fantasy value. So Alan Lazard is merely a flex play for me, a very boomer bust flex play. Christian Kirk comes in a little bit higher in my rankings. I'll take the shot there with Christian Kirk. All indications of that Kyler Murray's shoulder is good to go, so I'll play Christian Kirk there. I think that he's a little bit more boomer bust than Kenyon Drake. Drake, presents a safer floor, of course, but I want to swing for the fences there with Christian Kirk. Jordan Wilkins, love standard scoring, mid-range RB3 for me. I think you can plug him in if you're in a pinch, but otherwise he falls outside of that range. Kareem Hunt, A.J. Brown, or Justin Jefferson in standard scoring. I'll go with Justin Jefferson here. I mentioned that at the top of the show, that if you're deciding between some options here and you've got Justin, and one of them is Justin Jefferson, then I think you play Justin Jefferson. Would you start Mostert, Brian Hill, or Bernard over Jefferson this week at the flex with a full PPR? No, I would not. I would start Justin Jefferson. Aguilar or Beasley, pick one in a standard scoring. Aguilar is the play if you need more upside. Beasley is the one that you play if you need a safe floor. So it all depends on what your lineup's looking like. If let's just say that you went up against Will Fuller or Antonio Gibson on Thanksgiving and you are already in a hole, then you play Aguilar. If you are just going into your, matchup and you've got all your players left to play, they've got all their players left to play, then you play Beasley because he brings you a safer floor. He's not going to ghost you. Aguilar certainly could. Since I have Ebron, who would you start? Austin Hooper or Kyle Rudolph? Kyle Rudolph is an intriguing streaming option with Irv Smith out for this matchup, but yet I still think that you play Austin Hooper here. I mentioned it on the podcast, the Wednesday podcast, saying that Baker Mayfield missed Austin Hooper wide open in the back of the end zone. Should have been a much different day, fantasy day for Austin Hooper last week. Go watch it because you cannot miss a player worse than what Baker Mayfield missed Austin Hooper with last week. The rain could have been a part of that, but yet still. Austin Hooper in this matchup against Jacksonville, he belongs in your starting lineup. Tyler Boyd or Jameson Crowder in a full PPR. I will go with Jameson Crowder there with Sam Darnold back. And Adam Gase is apparently resuming play calling duties, so I think that you can lean into the fact that the slot receiver is going to be heavily targeted. I'll play Jameson Crowder. I just saw this tweet from Rappaport 25 minutes ago, so I missed it. But this was funny. Per James Palmer TV, there are people in the Broncos building who have not even met Kendall Hinton. Week 12. Here we go. Travis Fulgham or Antonio Brown. I will play Antonio Brown. Standard League in the flex, Cooper Kupp, Jalen Reagor, or Matt Breida. I will play Cooper Kupp there. Who has the higher ceiling, Brian Hill or Giovanni Bernard in PPR? The higher ceiling is obviously Brian Hill. I think that the matchup there speaks for itself, and Giovanni Bernard has done next to nothing the past couple weeks. Fitzpatrick or Matt Ryan. I am downgrading Matt Ryan without Julio Jones in the lineup. I'll play Fitzpatrick over him. Full PPR, James White or Austin Eckler. I will play Austin Eckler there. Pick one, Giovanni Bernard, Jalen Reagor, or T. Higgins in full PPR. Man, T. Higgins, I have no idea what to expect from him this week. I honestly don't. That's a situation where you find these with the fantasy analysts and experts that there's blind spots where we just legitimately have to say, I don't know what to expect. With T. Higgins this week with Brandon Allen at quarterback, what is this offense going to look like? No idea. So T. Higgins, I'm downgrading him slightly. He lands as a low end wide receiver 3 in my rankings. Jalen Reagor is a little bit further down, but yet he does come with some boom potential, right? Because of the matchup here against Seattle. Giovanni Bernard is just kind of there. He's just one of these players that, I don't expect the offense to move the ball much. So I honestly be playing Jalen Reagor. I think that he has brought a safe enough floor each week, and the matchup does present some higher boom potential. So that's just a situation that, due to the unknowns with T. Higgins, I'll play Jalen Reagor, and I'll play the matchup game there. Full PPR, pick 2, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Raheem Mostert, Nyheim Hines, and a full PPR. In a full PPR, I'll play Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Nyheim Hines. Full PPR, should I play Jalen Reagor or pick up Beasley? I'll play Beasley there. What is your wide receiver ranking for Hinton in standard? I mentioned that he's at 39 in my half PPR ranking, so he's around there in my standard rankings, probably just inside the low end wide receiver 3. Again, just kind of, I have no idea what the heck to expect with him. Corey Davis or Jacoby Myers in full PPR. I actually play Corey Davis here. Jacoby Myers was looking like a safe option week in and week out. But with the way Cam Newton spread the ball around last week, we saw N'Keal Harry start to become involved. Amir Byrd obviously had a great game. So Corey Davis here, outside of that 1 week against Chicago, he's been extremely consistent for your lineup. So I think you can plug in Corey Davis there and get a safe enough floor each week. Pittman, Giovanni Bernard, or Tyler Boyd. I'll play Pittman there. Eckler or Mike Davis in the standard in a standard league. I will play Mike Davis there. PPR flex, Robert Woods, James Robinson, or Josh Jacobs. I will go with Josh Jacobs there. I think that the scoring opportunities here for this Raiders offense is just going to be too much to ignore. So I'll play Josh Jacobs there. Even in a full PPR flex, I think that Woods is an attractive option, but yet a little bit of a tougher matchup. I'll play Josh Jacobs there. Aaron Jones, Aaron Jones, Brian Hill, Zach Moss, Mike Davis. CEH in a full PPR. I will start Aaron Jones for sure. He always belongs in your starting lineup. And then I think I'll give the edge there to Mike Davis, especially in a full PPR. So I'll play Aaron Jones and Mike Davis. Half PPR, Cooper Kupp or Giovanni Bernard. Cooper Kupp for me pretty easily. Full PPR, pick one, Pittman, Myers, or Fulgham. That's Pittman for me pretty easily. I've got him inside my top 36 receivers. And Myers and Fulgham are around wide receiver 50 in my rankings. Matt Breida or James White in a standard league. I'll go with James White. We just don't know what the heck the Dolphins are going to do with this backfield this week. Is it going to be DeAndre Washington? Is it going to be Matt Breida? Is it going to be Patrick? Well, I have no idea. There's very little news coming out of Dolphins camp. So I think that I had to go searching to see even if Myles Gaskin was ruled out for this game. So just right before the live stream. So not feeling confident about rolling in Matt Breida or DeAndre Washington. James White, yes, it's a standard league. He gets the majority of his value in full PPR formats, but I'll play James White there. Standard flex, Henderson or Samuel. I'm assuming this is Deebo Samuel. I will play. Oh man, I'll play Deebo Samuel there. Let's talk about the Rams' backfield for a second. Don't want to go anywhere near it. I've got each of these guys outside my top 36 running backs, which is essentially like untouchable territory for fantasy football. So Henderson, he could fall into the end zone, but is Cam Akers going to receive the majority of the touches? Is Malcolm Brown going to see the majority? Who is it? Like, are they just going to each cancel each other out? No idea. So you were absolutely just hoping and praying that Darrell Henderson falls into the end zone. If you start him, Deebo Samuel, he should be involved enough in this offense to finish with more fantasy points than Darrell Henderson, even though I'm not excited about Deebo Samuel this week. Full PPR, Eric Ebron or Evan Ingram. I will go with Evan Ingram there regardless. In this matchup, I think you start Evan Ingram regardless. Giovanni Bernard or Jamal Williams. I'll play Giovanni Bernard in that situation. Matt Ryan or Tannehill. I'll still go Matt Ryan there. The matchup's too good to ignore, even though I have my concerns. They're both mid-range RB2s, low-end quarterback 2s, excuse me. Robert Tonyan or Kyle Rudolph. I'll play Tonyan there. I like him a little bit more than Kyle Rudolph. Pick one for each. Eckler versus Gallman. I will play in a half PPR. I will play Gallman. And Michael Thomas versus Cooper Kupp. I'll mention this with Eckler and Gallman. That's super close. So if you want to play Eckler and you want to swing for the fences with this first game back, be my guest. Like I'm not going to fight you on that. Just based on my rankings and my process, I have Wayne Gallman slightly ahead of Austin Eckler, so I'll answer it that way. But if you want to play Eckler, I'm not going to fight you on that. And Michael Thomas versus Cooper Kupp. Good question. I have Cooper Kupp at 12 in my wide receiver rankings this week. I have Michael Thomas at 17, so I will play Cooper Kupp. Christian Kirk, Travis Fulgham, or Aguilar in a full PPR. I'll go with... That's a good question. Where do I have Christian Kirk? I have Christian Kirk at 29. I have Aguilar at 36, and I have Travis Fulgham at 47. So I will play Christian Kirk. Allen Robinson or Antonio Brown in a half PPR. You got to go Robinson there. Noah Fant or Jordan Reed. Again, I'm looking to sit Noah Fant if I can. Don't want to deal with that. So I will go with Jordan Reed there, assuming that he's fully healthy and ready to go. Robert Woods or Allen Robinson in a full PPR. That's a closer conversation. I think that I have Robert Woods one spot above Allen Robinson. So if you want to play Robert Woods versus dealing with the wide range of outcomes here with Mitchell Trubisky back at quarterback against Green Bay, and yeah, I'll play Robert Woods there. Brian Hill or James White in a full PPR. I'll still go Brian Hill there. Pick 2, Corey Davis, Christian Kirk, or Curtis Samuel. I will play Curtis Samuel and Christian Kirk there. Corey Davis just slightly below them. Chris Carson, Eckler, and Mike Davis. Need to pick 2. I am looking to start Chris Carson if he is good to go, which all indications are that he is. Where do I have Chris Carson? I have him at 12. I have Mike Davis at 13, and then I have Eckler at 17. So I will play Chris Carson there and Mike Davis. I'll sit Eckler. Again, I want to play Eckler, and I think that you can play Eckler, but in comparison to those other 2 options, they don't come with the just what is this backfield going to look like first week back with Eckler after missing several weeks. There's just a lot more unknowns there. So I'll play it safe and play Chris Carson. Again, he comes with his own injury concerns, but all indications are that he's fully healthy and ready to go. I think he could have played last week too, but I think they held him out just one more week. Chris Carson or Kenyon Drake, I will play Chris Carson there. Goddard or Engram, you need a safe floor. I still think that you can go Evan Engram there. I think he brings a safe enough floor, and I do think that he brings some potential as well. Have PPR, choose 2, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Drake, and Crowder. I will play CEH and Jameson Crowder there. I think Crowder is going to get back to his insane target share with Sam Darnold back at quarterback. Have PPR, Christian Kirk or Latavius Murray in the flex. I will play Christian Kirk there. PPR flex, Montgomery, Cooper Kupp, or Godwin. You need huge upside with Zeke as a starter. If you need the upside, then I think you play Cooper Kupp in this matchup. I think that Godwin, I think he brings a safe enough floor. You need him to find the end zone to bring that upside, and Montgomery in this offense, he doesn't have much upside, even though it's a great matchup. So I'll roll the dice there with Cooper Kupp. A.J. Brown or Calvin Ridley, I will play Calvin Ridley there. Pick 2 in a full PPR, Jameson Crowder, Robert Woods, Tyler Boyd, or Chris Godwin. In a full PPR, I will play Robert Woods for sure, and then I'll still go Chris Godwin there. I think Crowder is in contention for that spot, but Chris Godwin he's just been too consistent for your lineup, and he's essentially reeling in everything that he sees. So I'll play Robert Woods and Chris Godwin there. Who do I choose for my flex spot? Austin Eckler, James Robinson, or Antonio Brown. In that situation, I will play James Robinson still. I think that he's just going to see too much work. Antonio Brown comes with his own question marks. Austin Eckler comes with his question marks of what is his actual workload going to be like. They can report everything they want to. We saw the report last week that Nyheim Hines was going to see the majority of the touches, and he saw, 5 or 6? So I don't want to read too much into coach speak before this game. And Austin Eckler, again, he comes with his the concerns. We don't know exactly what his workload's going to be like. So James Robinson, we know exactly what his workload's going to be like. So I'll go with Robinson there. All right. But I will say this. If you need a swing for the fences, then I think you play Austin Eckler. James Robinson, he's my answer because I think he brings a safe enough floor that you know what you're going to get. But I don't think with Mike Glennon at quarterback, I don't think he brings much upside this week. Austin Eckler is the one who brings immense amount of upside in this game. All right. Zach Moss, Damian Harris, or Christian Kirk? I will, and you ask, why no love for the Zach Moss questions? Because Zach Moss is not someone that you should really be looking at for fantasy football, honestly. He's at 30 in my running back rankings, and that's kind of where he lands in ECR too. Zach Moss just not seeing the work. Now, you're hoping that he falls into the end zone for him to return that value. But again, when you're splitting a very small workload at the running back position as far as touches between Devin Singletary and Zach Moss, Zach Moss is a good football player, but he's not getting the work for fantasy football. So that's why. Between Damian Harris and Christian Kirk, I will go with Christian Kirk. If I need the upside, I'll go with Damian Harris. If I just need the safe guaranteed volume. All right. Half PPR, need upside. In parentheses, thanks, Zeke. Michael Pittman, Jameson Crowder, Ronald Jones, Antonio Brown, Curtis Samuel. Swing for the fences. If you want to swing for the fences, I think that Curtis Samuel is probably your option here. Antonio Brown, yeah, he led this team in targets last week, but Tom Brady has done nothing for me to feel confident. And in a tough matchup too. Yes, points are going to go up on the board in this one, but you can't feel confident starting Antonio Brown, especially if you need to swing for the fences. Curtis Samuel in this matchup could easily go off. Michael Pittman, we've seen him go off in this matchup 2 weeks ago, so he's in consideration there. Jameson Crowder is going to bring you a safe enough floor. Ronald Jones, I'm not going anywhere near him, especially if I need upside. So then it's between Pittman and Curtis Samuel there. I'll give the slight edge there to Curtis Samuel. Pick 1.5 PPR, Deontay Johnson or Jalen Reagor. I'll go Jalen Reagor there because even though Deontay Johnson is miles ahead of him in my wide receiver rankings, there's the just situation. If you cannot substitute with your commissioner, right, then I think you just play it safe and you play Jalen Reagor. But again, you have a little bit more time to make that decision because it is on the Monday night game and then the Tuesday night game. So you have a little bit more time before you have to make that decision. If I'm forced to make it now for you, I will recommend that you play Jalen Reagor over Deontay Johnson. Gus Edwards or David Montgomery. Again, in this situation, I'm looking to play the safe and the guys who I play it safe and the guys who I know are going to be playing, and that's David Montgomery. Half PPR, Nelson Aguilar or Giovanni Bernard. I'll play Aguilar there. Allen Robinson, A.J. Brown, or Robbie Anderson. I'll play, I think it's Allen Robinson, but I want to make sure. Yes, I have Allen Robinson at 14, A.J. Brown at 16, and then Robbie Anderson at 23. So I will play Allen Robinson there. All right, half PPR, Hinton at the flex, Corey Davis or Leonard Fournette. If it's your flex spot, I think you can roll the dice there with Hinton. Corey Davis is the safer guaranteed option. I'm not looking Leonard Fournette's way at all. So Corey Davis is the way that you play it safe and you plug in Corey Davis because he's bringing a safe enough floor every single week. Again, outside of that one game against Chicago, he's been extremely consistent for your lineup. So I think you can plug in Corey Davis there, but if you want to swing for the fences and you hope that Hinton can, again, I don't know, does he even know the plays? What are they going to do in this situation so I don't want to get carried away here with Hinton. So I'll play Corey Davis there personally, but if you want to, you just want to swing for the fences and you hope that Hinton can find the end zone as a runner or something like that, I don't know, then that's something where you can consider Hinton. Otherwise, I just play it safe. I'd avoid the headache and go with Corey Davis. Right. Full PPR, pick 2, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Curtis Samuel, or Brian Hill. I will play Clyde Edwards-Helaire there, especially in a full PPR, and then I will play Curtis Samuel. Even though CEH has the tough matchup, I still think that he can be targeted enough out of the backfield to present a safe enough floor. Brian Hill is Brian Hill is not anything spectacular as a runner. If you watch football, you know that. He's just as inefficient, as Todd Gurley. So with Brian Hill, is he going to see Todd Gurley's normal workload? Is he going to see 20 carries where he averages 3 yards per carry and falls into the end zone? Or are we going to see Ito Smith factor in? Are we going to see Quadri Allison? Are we going to see these other backs here in Atlanta factor in as well and take away some of the workload here with Brian Hill? So that's why I'm not wanting to get super carried away with Brian Hill. So CEH, and then Curtis Samuel comes with his own boom potential here in this matchup. So I think you can go CEH and Curtis Samuel, especially in a full PPR. I don't expect Brian Hill to be involved much out of the backfield as a receiver. Jordan Reed or Kyle Rudolph in a half PPR. I'll go Jordan Reed there, but Kyle Rudolph is certainly in the conversation with Irv Smith, but I don't think he sees many targets. I expect Minnesota to just lean on the run game, and then the rest of the targets to go Dalvin Cook and Justin Jefferson's way. Half PPR flex, Chris Godwin, Robbie Anderson, or Austin Eckler. I will go with Austin Eckler there. I'll swing for the fences there. Godwin, tough matchup. Robbie Anderson, not presenting much of a ceiling here recently, even though it is a great matchup. He hasn't scored since week 1. So Austin Eckler there. I think that in a game where you are expecting a very high over-under, I think Eckler has an excellent chance of finding the end zone. So as far as my rankings, I think Eckler comes out to be on top there. Deontay Johnson or Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley, even if Deontay Johnson was playing. For sure playing, CEH or Brian Hill. Play CEH there. Half PPR, pick 2. Darius Slayton, Christian Kirk. Mike Williams. I will play Darius Slayton and Christian Kirk there. Mike Williams. They're all in the same range, though, so that's super close. Devontae Parker or Robbie Anderson in a half PPR. I'll play Devontae Parker there. I really like Devontae Parker this week in this matchup with Ryan Fitzpatrick back at quarterback. Damian Harris or Jordan Wilkins in a full PPR. I'll go Damian Harris there. Half PPR, James Robinson or DeAndre Hopkins. I think you roll with DeAndre Hopkins there, just with the unknowns of the quarterback situation in Jacksonville. Pick 2, Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, or DJ Moore. I will play Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods there. Coming from France, PPR, Brian Hill, Jameson Crowder, Kenyon Drake, or Curtis Samuel. I will play Jameson. I'm assuming this is only picking one. If it's a full PPR, then I'm playing Jameson Crowder because I think he's going to soak up targets. Curtis Samuel is a little bit more attractive in standard and half PPR leagues because I think he has more of a potential to hit the big play rather than see an exorbitant amount of targets. So, but I'll play Jameson Crowder there if I'm only picking one. Pick one in a full PPR, Mike Williams, Tyler Boyd, Jameson Crowder, or Michael Pittman Jr. I will play Jameson Crowder again in a full PPR. Full PPR, flex one, Brian Hill, Wayne Gallman, Raheem Mostert, or Christian Kirk. I will play in a full PPR. Man, it's close. I'll play Wayne Gallman. I think that he has the chance to find the end zone once, if not twice, in this matchup. So I'll play Wayne Gallman there. Nyheim Hines or Giovanni Bernard. I will play Nyheim Hines there. Half PPR in the flex, Darius Slayton, Corey Davis, or Jameson Crowder. I'll play Darius Slayton there for the boom potential. I'll play Jameson Crowder if I need a safe floor. He comes a little bit more of a safe floor than Corey Davis, but these guys are all in the same range in my rankings. Sterling Shepard or Christian Kirk in a standard league. I will play Christian Kirk there. Pick two in a full PPR, David Montgomery, Nyheim Hines, Brian Hill, Robbie Anderson, Chris Godwin. Okay, pick two in a full PPR. Nyheim Hines in a full PPR. I'll plug him into my lineup over David Montgomery. And then I'll go with Chris Godwin. I think that Godwin brings a safe enough floor, but yet does have the potential to find the end zone in a game where points are going to go up on the board. So, Ballage, Brian Hill, or Fournette in a standard league. Well, Kalen Ballage is out for this game, so in Fournette, I'm not going anywhere near. So, Brian Hill is the last man standing. Half PPR, Davis or Williams. Corey Davis or Mike Williams. Super close, guys. This is a flip of the coin. I have Mike Williams at 40, and I have... Who's the other? Mike Williams or Corey Davis. I have Corey Davis at, where the heck is he? 45. That's too low. I'm moving him up right now. I'll play Mike Williams there slightly. Again, I expect points to go up on the board in this one. So, yeah, I'll play Mike Williams there. Doing some shuffling right now in my rankings just to make sure that that is the case. All right. And let me make sure that I hit publish because these are about to lock. Sorry, guys. Entertaining TV. Okay, here we go. Ryan Hill or CEH. I will play CEH there. AJ Brown or Ridley in a half. I think I answered this one earlier. I'll play Calvin Ridley. Taysom Hill or Daniel Jones. Good question. I will play Taysom Hill, although I do have Daniel Jones as a top 12 quarterback this week. Giovanni Bernard or Kenyon Drake. I will play Kenyon Drake there. Kareem Hunt or Austin Eckler in a full PPR. I'll give the slight edge there to Kareem Hunt still. Fantastic matchup. You should see plenty of work on the ground. I'm not excited about the Browns' receiving options this week as far as the receivers like Jarvis Landry and Rashard Higgins because I just don't think that they're going to be needed much. So because I think that the Browns could easily just run the ball 40 times in this game. Tyler Boyd or Nyheim Hines. I'll play Nyheim Hines there. Full PPR flex, Austin Eckler, Devontae Parker, or Cooper Kupp. I will play... Oh, man. I'll go with Cooper Kupp there, but Devontae Parker is right on his heels. This is a really tough situation, actually. Even Eckler is right in that conversation for me. So, super close. I'll give the slight edge there to Cooper Kupp, but that is a flip of the coin. Go with your gut there, Eric, but... Man, I think that, and all three of those options are solid, solid candidates. I would just give the slight edge there to Cooper Kupp. Just a couple more questions, guys, so that way we can make sure that you get your lineup set and locked. Austin Eckler or Mike Davis. It depends on the format, but I will go with Mike Davis there. Full PPR, Gallman or Deebo Samuel on the flex. I'll go with Gallman there. Mike Williams or Sterling Shepard. I'll go with Mike Williams if I need the upside. I'll go with Sterling Shepard if I need the safe floor. Latavius Murray or Zach Moss. I will go with Zach Moss there, but both these guys are mid-range RB3s for me. Not excited to play either one of them. A.J. Brown or Chris Godwin. I will play A.J. Brown. Half PPR. With A.J. Brown, like his stat line against the Colts, 2 weeks ago wasn't great, but yet he also he bobbled a super deep pass that would have just absolutely made up for his fantasy day. So we would be talking about him in a very different light if he was able to reel in that pass. It was just a fluke play, bobbling it down the sideline. That would have been a 60-yard touchdown. So I think A.J. Brown, I'm still fine plugging him in as a high-end wide receiver 2 in this matchup. Fitzpatrick or Brady? This is a good question. If you want to play the matchup, then I think that you play Ryan Fitzpatrick. If you want to play the volatility here and you lean into the Vegas projected points, like this is going to be a very high over-under. This is going to be a shootout. Then Brady should be, a good play, but he has a tougher matchup here. So if you want to play Fitzpatrick over Brady, I'm not going to fight it. In my rankings, I'm trying to just find that middle ground of Brady's projected range of outcomes because we've seen what he can do. He can throw a couple interceptions and he can disappoint, or he could absolutely go off in this matchup because of the high over-under. So, yeah, I'll play Brady there, but if you want to play Fitzpatrick, I'm not going to fight you. Last question here. Hayden Hurst or Kyle Rudolph? Great question. Hayden Hurst, I have at tight end 13 on the week. I want to sit him if I can. Over someone like Kyle Rudolph, though, I will still start Hayden Hurst just because I think that he's going to need to be more involved than Kyle Rudolph. Rudolph could walk out of this game with 3 targets, could find the end zone, but yet I don't see the path here for many, many targets. Even though you do have Adam Thielen and Irv Smith out of the lineup, this is a matchup where Dalvin Cook just should absolutely go off. So, all right, guys, I'm going to give you just a few minutes to make sure that you get all your lineups set and locked in. Oh, not even a few minutes. We got 1 minute before kickoff, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in and joining. Again, make sure you hit the subscribe button if you have not done so already, and you can find and follow me on Twitter at KyleYNFL. Guys, enjoy your football. Enjoy a crazy week. Make sure you get that Denver game on just to see what Kendall Hinton looks like at quarterback here. It's going to be an entertaining week, that's for sure. I will talk to you all soon.